Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, why U.S. automakers may be globally isolated, NASA's space gas station, and part one of ramping up manufacturing in America. To add your voice to the conversation, be it to ask a question, share an opinion, or even to suggest a topic for future discussion, call or text the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793. Or you can email the show directly, talk@techmobility.show. From the Tech Mobility News Desk. The name of the automaker is Polestar. And for many of you, you may not recognize the name, or if you're kind of into Swedish vehicles, you might remember, have a passing memory that it sounds vaguely familiar. Let me bring you up on your history, and then I'll tell you why we're having this discussion right now. Volvo, years ago, launched a performance division, or actually a racing team, which was Polestar. Polestar morphed over the years into the performance part of Volvo. And then it got reconstituted as its own brand, apart from Volvo, but with a common ownership. And in case you didn't know, for about the last 15 years, Volvo and Polestar are owned by Geely Motors, which is Chinese. Volvo is actually owned by a Chinese automaker, as is Polestar. Polestar in recent years has made the bid to go completely electric, and they've gone completely electric. Polestar 2, Polestar 3, Polestar 4, the upcoming Polestar 5. I've had a chance to drive some of these. They're amazing. They're fast, silent, a little wonky looking design-wise, but the driving experience, totally awesome. Totally awesome. The reason why I bring this up, bear in mind, I said that Volvo and Polestar are both owned by Geely Motors, Chinese automaker. And the reason why that matters is that the U.S. Department of Commerce denied Polestar's authorization under the Connected Vehicles Rule, which bars vehicles with Chinese-linked Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular, and certain satellite systems in the name of national security. It means that starting in 2027, Polestar Motors can no longer sell their vehicles in the United States of America. And I want that to settle for a minute because I'm going to throw in a little wrinkle. The all-new Polestar 5 that's coming out is actually manufactured in Volvo's South Carolina plant. But the problem is, Volvo got authorization. Polestar did not, despite having common ownership. And despite a lot of these vehicles in some ways sharing some components. I mean, automakers do that all the time. What you don't see, a lot of the bones, so-called, of the car, the running gear, the wiring, all of that is not customer-facing, is usually shared between platforms. It saves automakers billions of dollars. The bigger question is, why did Volvo get okayed and Polestar did not? I'm going to let you think about that for a minute. After 2026, Polestar's U.S. dealers will largely become service-only points, with franchise investments handled case by case. And needless to say, if you're a Polestar dealer, and there are 32 of them in the United States, they want to know why the government has chosen to treat Polestar and Volvo differently, although they have the same ownership. They're owned by the same company. Even I can't answer that. But the current administration is barring U.S. sales of its electric vehicles, talking about Polestar, after the current year as part of that prohibition of Chinese-linked connected technology. Think about this. You are a dealer, and I don't care what brand you sell. If you are a new vehicle dealer in the United States of America, you have invested at the minimum hundreds of thousands, if not a few $1,000,000 in building the point, securing the land, building the building, stocking the dealership, training your employees, carrying stock of new vehicles, used vehicles, parts, all of that. You have a major investment. This one announcement made every one of those 32 points worthless. They can't even sell them. They can't sell them. They can't do anything. It's as if Polestar had went broke, which they did not. They just can't sell in this country anymore after this year. And if you own a Polestar vehicle right now, what does that mean to the resale value of your vehicle? Think about that for a minute. You may have bought one because, oh, it's cutting edge, it's modern, I like EVs, I like how this handles, I want to own one. You bought it, you own it, it's in your garage. And now you hear this. You hear that you will never, at least right now, as far as the eye can see, ever buy a brand new Polestar after this year. Next question is, what's going to happen to my local dealer? Well, right now, service point. But for how long? How long can they sustain just being a service point with just 32 dealerships in the United States? I don't know. And I don't have a number. This article in Automotive News did not give me a number as to how many vehicles over the last few years the Polestar has sold in the United States. Don't know. But in fairness to Polestar, I have to disclose this. They had been warned for the last couple of years that these rules may force them to leave the United States. They kind of knew. The issue that the dealers have is Polestar, knowing this, could have handled it differently to help the dealers. They're not so much mad. They're disappointed because if you're a Volvo dealer, you don't have this problem. You don't have anything to worry about if you're a Volvo dealer. But if you are a Polestar dealer, one of the few, you got a problem. Right now, they said, on average, they got a 76-day supply of unsold vehicles. And considering that these are generally made in China and you've got a lead time, and you're in June right now, typically in the United States, the model year starts in October. And I'm assuming that here they're talking about the calendar year. So the question is, did the last of the new Polestars already shipped from China because it takes a few months to get here? And is that it? What about parts? Service, okay, but what about parts? What happens if an electrical part goes out? Is that covered under this ruling? Can they import electrical components, whether they be Bluetooth, Wi-Fi for the vehicles already built, the Polestar has that you've got in your garage if you need it fixed? Or if you're in an accident and it gets wrecked and you need those parts, can you get them? This feature is silent on that point. I don't know. This is a new one. This is a new one. Not sure how this is going to go, but I will tell you this. Europe generated 78% of Polestar's first quarter sales versus 6% for the U.S. So unless you're a dealer or unless you own a Polestar vehicle in the United States, probably ain't going to hurt as much as opposed to Polestar itself corporately, where this is just a little sliver of their business. They're going to be fine elsewhere. Canada, Mexico, not affected by this, just the United States. And I don't know what the numbers are for Mexico and Canada relative to Polestar. And maybe if you're in one of the northern states or southern states, you may have an option. But after this year, if you own a Polestar vehicle, you're out of luck with respect to buying a new one. The U.S. auto industry risks global isolation as tariffs policy shifts favor domestic markets. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show. You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Celebrate the power and control of the Audi A6 at the 25 Years of Quattro event. Take a test drive today.
The Audi A6 and the Audi A8. The A6 would have been considered their mid-size car. This is from 2006. The Audi A8 and A8L, their flagship cars. Amazing vehicles. When the cars were cars, oh my goodness. Remember, about that time when they introduced the all-new Audi A6 for the 2005 model year, I got to drive it in Italy, of all places. And that midsize car, you might as well have been driving a 1960s full-size American car because everything else was, and I'm not exaggerating, half the size. This thing was comparatively a boat, and impossible because you couldn't find anywhere to park, let alone travel or communicate. I mean, we're talking about a 5-door hatchback, a Seat 5-door hatchback parked next to it was half the size of the car. You could take 2 cars for the size of this one. In the United States, it'd be no big deal. I mean, it'd be just average. But over there in Europe, small is the big deal. And these were not small, but boy, they were powerful and a joy to drive. Just love it. When it comes to domestic American automakers, let me share with you an inconvenient truth. Our domestic automakers do business on a global scale. From the parts they import to manufacture vehicles to where they sell them. Problem is that these domestic manufacturers are becoming more isolated on the global stage because of tariffs and the decisions made to cancel, delay, or change investments in pure electrics. The inconvenient truth? Where the automakers are going is not where the rest of the world is going. Welcome to Topic A. People will say, and as some of you listening that will say, I will never own a vehicle that is not American. And certainly, it's your money. You have the right to do that. Absolutely. Here's the problem for you. Define that. Are you talking about assembled in America? Are you talking about most of the parts in America? For the last little more than 25, almost 30 years. There is a rule, the Automotive Labeling Act, which is supposed to tell you on the new car sticker where the vehicle was assembled, the percentage of where parts came from, engine and transmission, because those are the most expensive, and where it's made, so that you, as an American consumer, can determine just how made in America it is. Problem is, the brands you think are American made are not. They may be assembled here, but, and I've told you this before, so let me refresh your memory. The average vehicle, I don't care, car, truck, minivan, SUV, you're looking at tens of thousands of parts and anywhere from 500 to 2,000 different suppliers. And the automakers' supply chain is global. And it's global for a reason. Because in the automobile manufacturing business, they are constantly trying to get the cost of the product down. Now, notice I said the cost, not necessarily the price. The cost, or what it costs them to make it. It is never ending, constant. That pressure is constant. And sometimes it means taking that production, particularly if it's for a commodity item, I don't know, like screws or steel or something on the low end that is not differentiated. Then it wants to go to the lowest bidder that can deliver on that level of quality. And the reason why I'm taking it this way is that I've heard from some of you, and you've expressed your concern. Oh, the government's trying to make us buy EVs. Nobody wants EVs. We don't want EVs. What you forget is in the United States of America, manufacturers, retailers, anybody that does business with the American public is going to give the American public what they want. If you don't, American public votes with their dollars. I mean, I can name at least 10 retailers that don't exist anymore simply because they didn't follow that rule. And I can name at least 10 automotive brands that don't exist anymore easily off the top of my head. Multiply that by different industries. Perfect example. We get most of our stuff anymore. Most people buy online. When's the last time you've been to a mall? Most of us don't go to malls anymore. Our dollars have moved on. The problem is that current legislation in our country is making the automakers put blinders on. And they are taking the shortcut. They're taking the easy way out. Because right now, what's propping them up is a uniquely American product. And that is full-size pickup trucks, full-size SUVs. They're crazy profitable. Not nearly as American-made as you think, but they're crazy profitable. And if they could just keep building those and rake that money in, maybe, just maybe, and particularly with the current U.S. government, oh, we've taken our foot up for this or that, the other. And, you know, because, oh, we want the American consumer to have choice. Folks, you've always had choice. No retailer, manufacturer, anybody trying to sell you anything has ever took choice away from you. You don't like what a dealer is selling. You don't like what the brand is selling. You go somewhere else. You don't like what any of them are selling. You buy a used one. If you don't like that, if you don't like the prices, you keep what you got and fix what you're driving. You always had choice. The problem is when you look at the rest of the world, number one, the United States is not the largest car market in the world. That's China. Number two, if you look at it as an aggregate, Europe is actually number two as aggregate. Manufacturers will tell you right now that the golden days of 17 million vehicles, new vehicles sold a year, that's done. They're not selling that number anymore. And with the average new vehicle price now creeping past $51,000, staring down $52,000 average for a new vehicle right now. The automakers need to pay attention because there's a bigger market outside of the United States for the vehicles they're developing, engineering, and selling than what they're selling here. And if they take the easy way out, they're going to be uncompetitive really fast. And being uncompetitive is good for no one. It's not good for our economy. It's not good for our jobs. It's not good for American manufacturing. We need to be competitive. And being competitive today means being global. You have to consider all the countries you do business in and what they want, as well as your home market. Problem is, right now, our automakers are choosing to be short-sighted. That short-sightedness is going to cost them hard because their competitors are playing the long game and they're playing for keeps. There's a reason why the Asian manufacturers did not leave sedans. A new NASA satellite aims to solve cryogenic fuel storage and transfer challenges in space for future missions. This is a Tech Mobility Show. Quick question. What could your life look like 1 year from now if you invested just 2 focused hours a week into building something of your own? That's the idea behind my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur. No hype, no hustle culture, just practical steps to help busy people finally move from idea to action. Available now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur. Start where you are.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
Call this the next chapter in the space race. NASA is developing a new kind of satellite to solve cryogenic fuel storage and transfer challenges in space. With on-orbit refueling a crucial requirement for the future of human spaceflight, this test satellite will evaluate a key technology for storing and handling cryogenic fuel. Called Liquid Oxygen Flight Demonstration, is scheduled to fly this year and could play a major role in the race to return humans to the moon. This is topic B. Basically, what NASA is developing is, if you'll allow me to oversimplify, a gas station in space. As we push, going back to the moon, maybe developing a way station, if you will, on the moon. If we're going to Mars and going to points way out there, then the need to refuel is pretty important because it takes so much energy to break out of the Earth's atmosphere. And you're going to need more energy than they can reasonably carry at any one time to go further. So they're trying to figure out, how can we provide the necessary fuel in a safe way out in space to help these crews tank up and go to the next level. Large crewed spacecraft, such as SpaceX Starship, will expend most of its fuel launching into the Earth's orbit. To travel to the moon, Mars, and someday beyond, they will have to dock with another spacecraft capable of supplying the fuel needed for the long journey ahead. The Liquid Oxygen Flight Demonstration is called LOXSAT, LOXSAC. They think this could be the answer. It's scheduled, when it does fly, to go into low Earth orbit this summer aboard a Rocket Lab Photon satellite bus that will be lifted to space by an Electron small lift rocket. The mission will launch from Rocket Lab's New Zealand facility actually in a couple of weeks, no later than July 17th, according to NASA. The satellite will test fluid management capabilities required to maintain cryogenic fuels in microgravity. These fuels are highly efficient, but check this out. They must be stored at super cold temperatures, making them challenging to manage and transfer between spacecraft. In other words, you have a problem with this. It's not a matter of spilling a little bit of fuel on the ground. This is serious business. SpaceX, for example, has yet to demonstrate an on-orbit refueling with its Starship rocket. Reports suggest the company is struggling to mitigate the effects of what they call boil-off. That's where the cryogenic propellant, some lemonade, that's fancy, for turned directly into a gas from their frozen state, due to constant temperature fluctuations. As boil-off occurs, pressure builds, and Starship must vent gas and lose propellant to prevent damage. So, in other words, in order to take it on, you're going to lose part of it to keep from losing part of it that you can't capture. Sounds kind of like a lose-lose to me. See, I'm taking it on, but I got to be careful because I'm going to lose some, which means if I lose some, I've got to relieve the pressure so I can take some more on. That's why I'm not a scientist or a researcher. I just report this stuff. According to a NASA statement, LOXSAT will demonstrate technologies that, quote, were selected to address the core challenges of using cryogenic or supercold propellants and microgravity, including reducing boil-off, transferring propellant, maintaining tank pressure, and gauging propellant levels. The space agency also noted that its technology could one day enable, quote, in-space propellant depots, unquote, which are essentially gas stations in space that could support long-term exploration. Yeah, I'll take $5 of unleaded. I don't think that's what they mean. Anyway, this demonstration is supposed to last 9 months. And according to NASA, during that time, it will test not one, not two, but 11 different cryogenic fluid management technologies. I can't help it. Got to ask, what could possibly go wrong? There's so much that this feature does not address. Obviously, there is the actual maintenance of transference. And if they can get that done, what type of safety protocols would they have if something goes horribly wrong? Is there any protection? And more importantly, if it happens up there in space, is there any risk to us down here if something bad happens up there? Questions I got. You know me, I ask the questions. I don't know that we'll get the answers. Here's something else. Okay, let's say they establish one of these on the moon itself. What happens if you've got a problem up there? It's not like you can hop in your vehicle and I'll be over in 15 minutes. You can't call the fire department or whoever you would call to remedy the situation. So safety would have to be a very high priority in whatever they do, which typically is what NASA does. But I would be interested in the level of redundancy that they'd have to build in and what that looks like. What does that look like when you originally charge whatever it is that you're going to send up from here? And how often would those stations, much like a landlocked gas station, have to be refueled? Down here, we've got pipelines, we've got tanker trucks, and they refuel from depots, and that happens on a regular basis. It's a whole part of the gas station business we rarely see. But they get refueled. What does that mean for this type of stuff in the super cold that would have to be loaded, pressurized, and sent up there to load that? And how often would that happen? And where do you make this stuff? And assuming you're going to make it down here, how safe is the facility itself in actual gravity, making something that dangerous in terms of transport, launching, getting it up there? Transfers up there, but heck, what about down here? So I got a lot of questions. NASA chose, under their Tipping Point Initiative, 14 companies to develop technologies required for the space agency's Artemis program. In case you didn't know, the goal of Artemis is to build a permanent base on the moon, which will serve as a stepping stone for further human exploration of the solar system. Both the U.S. and China are racing to send humans back to the moon by the 2030s. According to reports, China has already demonstrated on-orbit refueling technologies in space with several of its satellites. However, neither the United States or China has demonstrated on-orbit refueling between two large spacecraft. And obviously for NASA, this is a particularly pressing concern. Before NASA can land astronauts on the moon with its Artemis 4 mission currently scheduled for 2 years from now, 2028, it will have to show that at least one of those landers can refuel in Earth's orbit. Manufacturing in America, a new limited series starting next. We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You know, after years of hosting these programs and talking with entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders, I realized something. A lot of people aren't lacking ideas. They're lacking a realistic path to start. That's why I wrote To Our Entrepreneur. It's for people with jobs, families, responsibilities, and dreams that have been sitting on the shelf for too long. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. To Our Entrepreneur. Progress starts small.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
I'm going to start this segment with context. Before we even go any further, I want to set the context of this conversation right here, right now, with this statement. Every year, the United States of America imports about $3 trillion of manufactured goods. Let me say that again. $3 trillion, that's with a T, of manufactured goods. About 25%, that would be $750 billion with a B. Of these are particular what they call Achilles heels, due to some combination of criticality to national security, supply concentration, and geopolitical distance from trade partners. About 5% of manufacturing imports, particularly computers and electric products, have all three dependencies. I'm starting a series because I think we need to have this conversation. And it started basically with a McKinsey & Company white paper that I will be referring from. But I really want to start a conversation because there's a lot of misinformation when we talk about bringing back manufacturing to America. This series examines the if and how America could ramp up to produce more goods at home. This is Topic C. I want to make this personal for my state before I go national, just to give you some context. Most politicians, I don't care what stripe they are, I don't care. If you tell them, or if you ask, are you in favor of more well-paying jobs in your state, in your nation, in your county? Yeah, sure I am. Oh, yeah, we need to do that. That's important. We got to do that. Let me break down some economics for you. There is a reason why supply chains right now are global. And this has been happening for 200 years. This is not new. Put China aside for a minute. Let's just talk about how this works. You start a process or you make something that is considered a commodity. And a commodity means that it is something in bulk that is not particularly differentiated by anything. It's a bunch of something. A ton of cement, a bushel of corn, a bushel of soybeans, a dozen eggs. That's commodity. In a commodity business, it's all about the price. Quality being the same, it's all about the price. And if the cost of the inputs to produce that commodity are higher than what the market is willing to pay for it, then you're not going to be in business because people will always go to the lowest cost for that commodity. So what happens is as a country comes up financially, begins to build a middle class, starts manufacturing stuff, things start happening, and wages start to go up. And the cost of inputs start to go up because this economy is going, like the United States did in the middle of the 1700s, from an agrarian to a manufacturing economy. Certain things, certain base things that are made or grown or otherwise manipulated into existence become too expensive and will go to the next lower cost country. And this has been going on for hundreds of years. It didn't just start now. Here's a bombshell. I want you to think about this. The rising middle class in China is already doing it. It's already happening in China. Things that went to China from here are now leaving China because it's too expensive to do it in China. Since we're being all kinds of contextual and factual, let me drop this on you. Made in America, part of economic policy and part of rallying cry for generations, we've been making less and less of the global total. 26 years ago, in the year 2000, at the start of this century, we were the world's leading manufacturer. Now, I want you to hold on for this. Today, the United States of America produces just 25% of what China produces. That happened in 26 years. 25%. And since we only produce a fourth of what China does, and we're still number 2, does that give you any idea at the size? We didn't lose this overnight, and we're not going to get it back overnight. But here's the thing. As the global economy grew, trade liberalization, modern shipping containers, and global internet connections. You remember broadband? You remember that about 25 years ago? Unleashed potential for a great unbundling. Used to be, in terms of transportation, sourcing materials, sourcing of talent, everything. We had it because you could not get this information out to the rest of the world. But with broadband, with satellite internet, with the ability to put a plant anywhere in the world with an awesome internet connection and decent transportation, that's exactly what happened. And because, like I said earlier in this program, people are going to go for the best price they can get. And if you can't provide it, they will go somewhere else. Meaning, if you can't do it here, you will go to a country where you can do it. The problem is it causes a lot of damage to the economy as you leave. And that's where we're at. Lower cost emerging economies took on physical production of many goods, while the United States provided much of the technology and manufacturing know-how. We exported that. So here's a question, and I got an answer for you. Now, it seems rhetorical, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Should the United States attempt to rebuild its industrial base? Now, the knee-jerk reaction is yes. Yes, we should. Yeah, well, hold that thought a minute. And let me drop this on you. Running today's factories in the United States of America at peak capacity, all of them, would generate $660 billion more in output, but hardly touch the biggest exposures. 40% of this extra production would be in transport equipment, another 40% from metals, wood and paper, chemicals, plastic and rubber. And you're still not even remotely close. It will cost billions of dollars to get there. And here's a fact. You're going to need, in today's world, you're going to need people, when you are hiring people with the particular skill set. The days of walking into a factory and walking onto an assembly line and making middle-class wages is over. It's over.
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
If you've been waiting for the perfect time to start your business idea, let me save you some time. That moment probably isn't coming, but 2 focused hours a week? Yeah, most of us can find that. In my new book, 2 Hour Entrepreneur, I'll show you how small, consistent effort can create real momentum toward building something meaningful. Launching now on Amazon Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, built for real life.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've heard me talk for years about technology, disruption, innovation, and adapting to change. But the one thing I've also learned in more than 3 decades in business is this. Most people never start because they think they don't have enough time. That's why I wrote 2 Hour Entrepreneur, a practical guide for building a real business in just 2 focused hours a week. Available now on Amazon, Kindle, Goodreads.com, and KennethJChester.com. 2 Hour Entrepreneur, because your future deserves 2 hours.